Hello friends, today's topic is the achievements of the great Cholas of South India and their naval superiority. My lesson plan includes why it is in the news, who were Cholas of South India, what were their achievements, how the legacy of the Cholas can be implemented by the present Indian government, and finally conclusion. Friends, as you know that while paying tributes to the great Rajraj Chola and his son Rajendra I Chola, Prime Minister said that they are the source of inspiration for the modern India. The heights they achieved are to be a matter of great pride for all of us, and it provides a roadmap to become a developed India. In order to become a developed country, India must prioritize unity, strengthen its naval power and defense forces while safeguarding its core values. The legacy of Rajraj Chola and Rajendra I Chola is synonymous with the pride of India and its heritage. He said that the great Cholas built a strong navy, and so the Indian government is also trying to make India as a super naval power in the Indian Ocean. Like Cholas, the present government is also focusing upon according the greatest emphasis upon national security and sovereignty. Now friends, who were Cholas? Friends, the Cholas originated in the territories between the river Velar and Pennar in South India, northeast of Pandyan territory, in the Sangam period around 3rd century BC, and they continued to rule over those areas between 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD. Their greatest king was Karikal, who made long embankment along the river Kaveri. But after 3rd century AD, the power of Cholas during the Sangam age declined, and the Pandyas from the south and the Pallavas from the north captured their territory, and so they were reduced to just a feudatory of the Pallavas. However, in the second half of the 9th century, the imperial Cholas again sprang up under the leadership of Vijayalaya, who captured Tanjore in 850 AD. Cholas defeated both Pallavas in the north and Pandyas in the south. Although the Rashtrakuta king Krishna III defeated Parantak I Chola around 1965 AD, but Cholas recovered rapidly after this setback. During the period of Rajraj I and his son Rajendra I Chola, the Chola power reached its zenith of glory. They built a strong navy. The shipbuilding activities were very much on high at Kaviripatnam and Nagipatnam. The ships were designed both for warfare and for carrying on trades. They were equipped to navigate in open seas and engaged in battles. The Cholas established naval bases along the Coromandel coast, in Sri Lanka, in Maldives, in Southeast Asia, at Kedah, or in the Sri Vijaya kingdom. So during the rule of Rajraj and Rajendra I, the Bay of Bengal was virtually converted into a Chola lake. Friends, as you know that the great Rajraj Chola captured northern Sri Lanka during his reign, while Rajendra I Chola captured the entire Sri Lanka. Similarly, Maldives was also captured and annexed within Chola Empire. So the Srivijaya kingdom was also annexed by Rajan Chola, which is synonymous with the present-day Indonesia and Malaysia. Moreover, the military forces of Rajan I Chola crossed the Ganga in the northern India and defeated Pal kings. And so, to commemorate this victory, he constructed a new capital, and that was called Gangai Konda Cholapuram. Thus, the great Cholas established trade relations with the Middle East and Southeast Asia, and in the East with China. They exported spices, textiles, gems, leading to the prosperity of their kingdom. They have effective control over the Strait of Malacca and Strait of Hormuz, two choke points in the Indian Ocean. And through these methods, the great Cholas controlled the Indian Ocean and its trade. However, by the end of the 13th century, their power declined, and the resurgence of the Pandyas further led to the downfall of the great Cholas. In 1279 AD, the Cholas were defeated by Pandyas. This was because of the internal rebellion, switching over the loyalties of chieftains and feudatories with Pandyas, and weak leadership of Rajendra III Chola. Thus, the Chola power in South India was supplanted by Hoysalas and Pandyas. Now, friends, how the legacy of the great Cholas can be emulated and implemented by India in present time. As we have seen how the great Cholas controlled the Indian Ocean and how they have become a super maritime power, and they controlled trade in the Indian Ocean. And so, the present day India must control the Indian Ocean through naval superiority if India is to survive, and if its sovereignty has to be protected. The Indian Ocean must be freed from the dominance of the great powers like China or the USA. India must strengthen its navy to match the Chinese navy in the Indo-Pacific region. By modernizing the navy, developing ports, and promoting cultural heritage around the Indian Ocean region, India can express its superiority in these areas. Since the Indian Ocean is the lifeline of our economy, it should be free from dominance of any other power. To conclude, friends, if India is to become a superpower in the near future, and as you know that by 2030 its economy is going to reach up to 10 trillion American dollar and the third largest economic power in the nominal GDP, it must model its navy on the line of the great Cholas. The administrative decentralization of the great Cholas should provide a historical foundation for India to assert itself as a leading maritime power and cultural power in the Indian Ocean region. By focusing upon the naval superiority in the Indian Ocean, India can challenge the dominance of China in the Indo-Pacific region. So friends, now I am concluding my lecture. If you have any suggestion, please give me feedback. This video would be followed by 20 multiple choice questions. I hope this video would be very much beneficial for all of you. Thank you very much.